Yo! Video games.
So, before I went to EVO, I had a little prediction video. And I wanted to predict for each of the big main games there. You know, and I said, yeah, we're going to get a big old, blowout for Lucy. And we got a big old blowout for Lucy. Lucy looks great. Steve was kind of surprised. He was like, well, why Lucy, not one of the main characters from the main game? And honestly, I think it just comes down to the fact that the anime looks like an Arc System style art style, so it just works really well. Now, I have not seen Cyberpunk Edge Runners, so I have no context for this, and I don't have exactly the most rosy history with Cyberpunk, the game either. So this is way out of my wheelhouse. She looks great. I just want to say that, she looks great, like a whip-based character. So, it's cool that not only did they bring a character, she looks like someone put a different head model on Makoto, but I will say, it's cool that they're, okay, here's this character, and I love the Cyberpunk game UI coming in. That looks so neat. I like how they have this guest character come in, but she's her own unique weapon style. It's not just sort of oh, well, let's take something that kind of previously exists and then sort of mix it up. But yeah, it looks great. All that being said, yeah, is this going to get me to necessarily say play Strive? Not necessarily, but however, there is going to be a big update where they're actually going to fix the ranking system of this game, and that is a huge deal for me and a lot of other people, because you could spend an hour playing Guilty Gear Strive Online, and you would spend 20 minutes of that hour fighting, and the other 40 minutes trying to connect or trying to get one of the weird little consoles to work. And it was kind of a disaster, and I kind of hated it, and I didn't want to play it again. However, I had another prediction. For Guilty Gear Strive, and people weren't really sure if they were going to do another season of DLC. And I wasn't sure about another season necessarily, but I was like, you know what? Whether it's another season of characters or just a couple new ones, a couple added in the end, I think Jam's gonna come back. Guess who was right? I was right on the money with that one. What I didn't expect was that they were actually going to do a Strive 2.0. So that is actually pretty cool. Let's call that. Bing, got that right. I was dead on with Guilty Gear Strive's updates. So I was like, all right, Jam's coming. We'll get a Lucy blowout. We'll get a tease for Jam. But yeah, there was this whole thing with they teased RoboKai and they teased Jam in the teaser. At least that's what I'm going off of what the Guilty Gear people are saying. But yeah, I was like, Jam and I did not expect RoboKai, but in hindsight, I feel like I probably should have doubled down on my bet and said, hey, RoboKai and Jam are coming back, because those are definitely the fan favorites. I was like, man, I don't know if there's any characters left that the fans want. And I'm like, when RoboKai showed up, it was like, oh yeah, RoboKai, duh. so yeah, I was on the money there, and I'm feeling pretty good about myself on that one. One thing, though, sort of Arc System related, but not related to Guilty Gear, is a lot of people were blown away and upset that there wasn't a new Tokon character reveal, and I'm not at all. They just announced Tokon, and I think the fact that Tokon was in Arc System's booth, and there wasn't even a Sony booth at all this year at EVO, and they just put Tokon over an Arc System, that tells you something. I think that says something right there, and I think you put the pieces together there, but just the fact that there wasn't a major Sony presence booth on the show floor, to me is all right, well, I don't think we're going to be hearing a big update on Tokon for a while. So there was that statement come out that said we want to support Tokon for 10 years, and I'm like, I'm sure you and Sony do, but that's kind of the PR speak of every game that comes out any multiplayer game that comes out nowadays has like, oh, a 10-year plan, a 10-year plan. Everyone got a 10-year plan. Everyone got a 10-year plan until the financials come and punch you in the mouth. So, do I think Tokon will be supported for 10 years? Probably not, but it'll probably get 5. But yeah, I'm not surprised at the no Tokon, but I want the record to show I was completely right about Guilty Gear. Jam's coming, Lucy Blowout, like, looks great. I was completely right about that. Now, as far as what I wasn't quite as right on, was Fatal Fury. And, you know, Ken was there. They had a big booth. Ken's playable. And the big thing was that Ken was shadow dropped. I don't know if I predicted a shadow drop or not for Ken, but I kind of thought they were going to show Chun-Li. Like, I really thought, like, okay, Ken's about to come out, so, and he's going to be playable on the show floor, so, you know, we're going to talk about, you know, they're going to have to show the next character, which, you know, there's Joe and then Chun-Li. And I thought maybe they'll show both. Chun-Li is always kind of a fan favorite, you know, like, as Capcom is reaping the benefits of Gooners all over right now. But, no, SNK was just kind of like, yeah, Ken's here, come play him, he's going to come out soon, he's going to come out at the end of EVO. Bye. I think there's a little bit of I don't want to say it necessarily, but like there's a bit of like feels like a bit of licking their wounds thing for Fatal Fury's sales performance, if I had to hazard a guess here. Just because like they weren't like, oh, we got this, we got that, you know, it definitely feels like a bit of the, I don't know, a bit of like the fury, if you will, the fervor, has kind of maybe died down a little bit for the game. So it's a little unfortunate, but yeah, like they didn't even show you know Glass Joe or Chun-Li at all. It was just like, hey, Ken's here, cool. So yeah, this I guess I was wrong about Fatal Fury, but I was kind of wrong in the worst way, where it's like, man, they didn't really want to talk about anything. Ugh. Dang. Either way, it's still a fun game. If anything, I just feel mostly bad for the Fatal Fury fans at this point. But yeah, I mean, Ken looks fun, you know, if you like Ken. But yeah, I'm a little surprised at. Not only did they not want to talk about the future of Fatal Fury, they didn't want to tease anything. They weren't even like, we're not even in tease mode. Because remember, Fatal Fury City of the Wolves was teased way early in advance. Oh, and just to make you guys feel like super duper bad, because you know I love doing that. I just want to remind you all about something I forgot about. But it totally existed at one point. I just want you to see what was once upon a time teased by Lizard Cube. Once upon a time, they had a mock-up for a Mark of the Wolf sequel. So this is the devs of the new Shinobi and Streets of Rage 4. And I just want everyone to remember what could have been. Just want everyone to remember what could have been a 2D Gauro sequel by Lizard Cube. But now all you Guilty Gear, now all you Fatal Fury fans feel extra bad. So, yeah. Sorry, not sorry. But, oops. So, moving on, let's talk about other things I predicted, but didn't get, but it's okay because this wasn't that bad. And that was Tekken 8. Looks like new Streets of Rage devs, Streets of Rage artists, make game that looks like Streets of Rage. Da 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 da. Like, anyways, I was predicting Pancake Palace. Obviously, like I said, Tekken's in need of like a goodwill tour, and obviously, like the big ones are like Tifa, Waffle House, and the next season being nothing but like returning fan favorites. And we got an Armor King blowout, which I expected, and great logo there, or whatever, great font. and he looks cool, as Armor King tends to. For those who like Armor King, Snow Leopard Man. But I wasn't expecting the brand new character to be revealed. It felt like she got like a real proper reveal too, with artwork and everything. And yeah, Armor King's cool. He looks good. I'm gonna take the L though. I really thought they were gonna do a Pancake Palace, like a non-IP related homage, if you will, to the Waffle House. I really thought the Waffle House stage was gonna come together as like a sort of like, IP free Pancake Palace. That's why I keep calling it that. So, yeah, my prediction for Tekken was off. They basically just like, nope. Keep the standard gravy train plan rolling. Show off Armor King in full. Tease the next character. Tease the next stage. Call it a day. Is that enough for Tekken 8? I don't know. It's hard to say. I think once all the major balance change updates are out for season 2, then we'll see where Tekken 8 is after that. But yeah, I think if they wanted to do a sort of like goodwill tour for Tekken 8, this was like a C, maybe a B minus. Show off the next character you already knew was coming with Armor King, who is a fan favorite, and then tease a brand new character who's completely new with a completely new stage. But I would say like straight up, I would say like, okay, well, it's not bad, but it's not like they clearly don't want to. I think they don't want to look like, okay, we know we fucked up. Here's our big apology tour for the rest of the season. Maybe that's where they're going with Tekken 8. It still sold really well. Do I think Tekken 8 can recover? Sure. It just, get those balance changes out there, get those updates out there, and then, kind of get it where you want it to be. As far as like getting a lot of like casuals or like people who are burnt out on it back, they may have to work a little harder. Again, I think Pancake Palace was that answer, but it's just not happening, or at least it's not happening right now that we know of. I think the next season should definitely just stick to fan favorite characters. Don't get fancy with anything, and if you're gonna have a guest, it should be freaking better well be Tifa, or else you're kind of wasting your time. But yeah, like Tifa, Waffle House, nothing but fan favorites. That's how you're gonna bring people back to Tekken the best way. And as far as if they're gonna do that, we don't really know. But yeah, I thought Tekken was gonna go a little harder than it did. It didn't go nearly as hard as I really thought it was gonna go for their EVO announcement, because usually Namco's pretty forthcoming with stuff at EVO in particular. Like Namco likes to own the EVO conversation. But yeah, for whatever reason, they played it kind of conservatively this year. And maybe that's because there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes, Maybe it's more to do with that than anything. But as far as the new character and the new stage goes, love it. It does have a little bit of that that issue where like, okay, like Tekken introduces new female character, looks like every other female character, like swapped in with some like cultural accurate clothing or whatever. So I want to say like people were surprised at how fast I was like Madagascar. Like I saw ring-tailed lepers and baobab trees, and I was like, oh, Madagascar. I thought it was Christy at first, but Mieri Zhao looks great. I love the fact, and then they were saying like this was the first character from Madagascar in a video game ever, which very cool. But geography, local flora and fauna, get on my level, everyone. Because like the minute I saw a ring-tailed lemur, I'm like, y'all a bunch of Zoomers. Y'all grew up on those like terrible ass Madagascar films. Y'all should know what a King Julian is. So all that being said, yeah, like Madagascar, straight up. Is anything entice a non-Tekken player to come into Tekken from this? No. But hey, it's okay. But yeah, I really thought they were going to go a little harder. I thought they were going to be a little more hungry for that goodwill tour. But yeah, and then comes the last one, which This is a little more in line with what I thought was going to happen, honestly. If anything, again, it's a little bit like, well, they didn't really show anything. They had Sagat, they had their big Sagat blowout, but they didn't, and they showed Sea Viper, got leaked a little early. That's basically what I expected. This was all what I expected. And then they followed it up with just the hyper horniest trailer ever, where Street Fighter 6 is getting on in its years, and we need to make some money out of this game. And how do we make money? By like fucking stripping all the characters down. So, you know, hey, we have Luke and Jamie showing their abs, so it's fine. So, you know, this is a teen franchise, and teens love ass. So let's just give them all the ass. So watching this trailer was like, it was like fucking Thugnificent from the Boondocks was suddenly rolling into Vegas, you know, on his ride, just, you know, just booty butt cheeks, like pretty much that's it. Here we go, you know. So it caked out summer. And the thing was, they weren't even trying to be coy or like, oh well, no, it's just swimsuits. It's just no. Here's their butt, here's their crotch, you know, here's their feet, you know, to get, you know, Cobra and Krim all happy. Like, nope, we knew exactly what we were doing here. There was zero shame or zero whatever in this trailer. Like, there's like, you know what? Nah. 2 guys, so people can't accuse us of being sexist, and the rest is all just women, booty butt cheeks hanging out. So, yeah, it's time to make money, Street Fighter 6. So the funny thing is when the Turtles came out, what was it, 2 years ago? People were like, you know, memeing the shit. Oh yeah, $15 turtle. Bro, if this shit cost $30, nobody would complain. People wouldn't complain at all. Like, it was like, oh, you want that cami suit? Yeah, that'll be $30. People would be like, fine. You know, I don't care. Give me that 30. Give me that 30 for that Kimberly costume. Am I saying Gooners are hypocrites? Yes. But yeah, the only thing that shocked me was no Jury outfit. But yeah, she just did Jury just to get a K-pop outfit. So I guess not. I guess they replaced Jury with Aki. I don't know how many people are into Aki, but whatever. People are weird, so. But yeah, people wanted more costumes, and you got more costumes. We just put them in bikinis and, you know, in one pieces and call it a day. Street Fighter needs to make money. Do I think any of them look good? Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just not a teenage boy anymore, so this is kind of like, okay, whatever. Like, you know, even the Sea Viper trailer was like, Sea Viper, she is sexy secretary lady, and she has big boobs. She's gonna talk through her boobs, or at least that's what the cameraman thinks, because that's where the camera is, and there's a voice coming out. So I guess she talks through her titties. Saving Jury swimsuit for an emergency, probably. But yeah, it's like 8 characters, 6 girls, 2 boys? Yeah, it's swimsuit time, right? Street Fighter need to make money. I don't know. I personally don't know if Ingrid's going to be the one to do it. I'm still on the fence about that. I bought Sagat personally, but I have no intention of buying Viper, Alex, or Ingrid in this season of DLC. I put a lot of money into this game already, and I'm tapping out at Sagat. So yeah. I did buy a Sagat separately. I didn't even buy a season pass. I don't care. I don't care about the rest of the characters. I don't care about these swimsuits, because I play Marissa, and Marissa didn't even get a swimsuit. So, yeah, forget it. Sagat's a beast if he's in range, and he's got a lot of reach, but like, Sagat's lumbering, and Sagat can get in trouble if he gets outpaced. So. Speedy characters are gonna give Sagat trouble. So yeah, I don't play any of the other characters in the season. Never have. Don't care. But yeah, this was my prediction. Like, the only thing I got really right was Arc System Works in the end. And the rest was just either didn't get right, or they just didn't go as far as I thought they were. A lot of just didn't go as far. Really, that's kind of the one thing. It wasn't even like, oh, we got this instead of that. It was like, no, like SNK just didn't want to talk about anything. Tekken was just, okay, we're just gonna stick to, you know, the season 2 DLC. And Capcom was like, we already told you what's coming up in the roster. Hell, we already knew about the swimsuits anyway earlier before anyway. So here we are. Really safe Evo. And maybe that was because they saw like the entry numbers and maybe got a little concerned that, oh, maybe the audience isn't as huge this year. So maybe we'll just kind of play things a little bit safer. But you know, the big surprise came from Sega. The big surprise came from Skybound quarter up with Invincible Versus being pretty awesome. Big surprise came from ArcSys, you know, and Sony, like, hey, Tokon playable. The big surprises came on the show floor and from Sega. But the other guys, the people in grand finals were kind of like, they were playing it pretty safe. So yeah. At least I got Jam right. I'm happy with that. I'll take that one where I can take it. But we'll see how I do next time we do Evo predictions.